Hi, everyone, and welcome to Fitness Knocking with Lois, also formerly known as Fitness Coaching with Lois. But I wanted to check in and say hi to everybody. Today we have part 2 of our talk with Kathy Degatti. And she is, if you didn't check in with and watch us last week, you should absolutely go back to last week and watch that one. But Kathy is a certified nutritionist, lifestyle coach, and a gluten-free practitioner. She founded her company back in 2007, so she's been around the industry for a really long time, and she helps people learn about food and taking your food and making it one of your forms of medicine, nourishing your body, nourishing your family, and finding innovative ways to help get rid of some of the barriers that we face. Today, we are talking about all things related to your microbiome. And if you don't know what that is, stay on, watch us, and learn. If you have any questions as we're going through, type them in and we can try to answer them live. If you're watching this after the fact, that's okay. You can still chime in with questions and we'll do our best to answer them. Our next one is going to be next week on Thursday. We're talking with Barb Minimer about having your cake and eating it too, finding balance in what you eat. So definitely chime in for that one. And then the week after that, I'm going to be working with Mary Ellen Zung, and we're going to talk about 4 different ways that you can have healthy dessert. So definitely tune in for those. So Kathy, how are you doing? You're getting ready for vacation, right?
I am. I'm really very blessed. I have a sister who owns a home in the Outer Banks.
Awesome.
Getting to go stick my toes in the sand. I can't wait.
Oh, I'm so jealous. I'm such a sand fanatic. At the beach, I love making drippy castles with my kids. They used to call them poopy castles. Now we got to drippy castles because they look, gross. They're fun to make. Getting your hands into the sand, oh, that's awesome. So I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful vacation. But let's get to it. So tell us about the microbiome and how it affects our immune system. We'll get to that in a second. But what is our microbiome just before we get started?
Yeah, that's a good place to start because a lot of people are not familiar with that term.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually relatively new. It's a newly discovered organ that we all have. Each of us has about 3 to 4 pounds of bacteria. We're actually more bacteria than human, to truth be told. And that the name we give for your composition of gut bacteria is called your microbiome. And we're only just beginning to understand just how profoundly it affects every aspect of our being.
Wow, cool. So our gut, inclusive of our stomach, our large intestine, our small intestine. Is there anything else in there that I don't know?
Well, that's enough. You do also have a microbiome in your mouth, anywhere there's a moist area, but and that one is important as well, but most people think of it about what's in their gut.
Okay, all right, cool. So what foods do you see that we avoid, and why is it not healthy?
That's easy. Most people do not eat dark green leafy vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
Bad rap over the years, except for Popeye and his spinach. But spinach, collards, broccoli rabe, certainly kale has taken a new popularity lately, but people generally don't eat enough vegetables by a long shot. Even people who call themselves vegetarians, I think that's probably one of the most misused words in the English language. Most people who call themselves that don't come within a mile of an actual vegetable. It's used for I don't eat meat, but I'd say more veggies would be the best prescription for that.
Yeah, I know a few people who are vegan. Actually, I know more than a few people who are vegan. And they say, well, Oreos are vegan.
And that's yeah, you can be, more people are junketarians than they are vegan or vegetarian.
Junketarian. Oh, that's a new term. I haven't heard of that one.
People don't like giving themselves that label, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're only having a single serving of vegetables a day, that could be part of the reason why your body is craving things that give you quick energy. So, if you're truly listening to what your body is asking, so we talked about this a little bit last week, and trying to listen to what your stomach and your body is asking for. Why do we crave certain foods depending on the season?
Well, Mother Nature is actually really very brilliant, much smarter than we'll ever be. And it does provide us with exactly what we need at different times of the year. And it's interesting because you can actually change your microbiome in as little as 3 days. And if you follow what is available and abundant and succulent and in season, you're going to be getting exactly what you need to deal with what is in where you're living and the environment you're in today. In the summertime, you'll get the cool, sweet fruits of summer, which when it's hot, your body craves cooling foods. But then if you take that same food, people think if I'm on a diet, I have to eat a salad.
Yeah.
January and it's 3 degrees, that's not going to be very satisfying because your body is looking for the more nourishing foods, the root vegetables, the stews, the things that are warming foods. And if you actually look at the microbiome of a deer, it's completely different in the spring than it is in the winter. And so the foods that they eat at different times of the year gives them everything they need to survive what they're going to encounter in nature during that time.
Right. Wow. So, what's a major problem with the microbiome for most people, in your opinion?
Well, they don't have any understanding of it, for one.
Hmm.
Affects every aspect of your being. It will determine how well you age, whether you're skinny or you're fat, whether you're sick, you're healthy, whether you're calm or whether you're anxious,
Mm.
whether you're happy or you're sad, is all being really regulated by your microbiome. They've actually taken bacteria from a mouse that was fat, put it in a skinny mouse, and without changing diet, the skinny mouse got fat. They've taken it from an angry, aggressive mouse, put it in a timid mouth, it became angry and aggressive. So it really plays a very big role in how you're going to show up in this lifetime.
Right. Right. So, and like, why is, I guess, why, maybe this is a subject for another day, I'm not sure, but why do you think people attribute losing weight to suffering?
Well, that's what the diet industry teaches you. You know,
Okay.
how it has to be difficult. It needs to be hard so that you need me. You need to pay me if you're going to figure this out. Or, they try and come up with one size and expect that it fits all. You can relate to this, Lois. You have some people that you work with that are naturally gifted. They have bodies that are people want to look like them, but the exercises that they're doing could be completely inappropriate for you, and you're not going to get the same results. And so you have to be able to do what's right for you, and we're not all the same.
Right, right. Well, yeah, I mean, I go out to do an evaluation for someone, and they could even have a twin who has, just because they could be identical twins and have completely separate things that their bodies need from an exercise perspective. And that could really just be based on what they're doing on the day to day, minute by minute throughout their day. So it makes a lot of sense that people assume that, the one size fits all programs that are out there, or diets, so to speak, are not going to necessarily work for everybody. And I always say you have to listen to what your body is asking for. But how do we listen? Understanding what the body language is, I feel like, is a major factor for people. Do you have any tips on that?
That's a tough one because most people have never learned how to do that. We live in a society where we push ourselves hard, and most of the time we're just on autopilot and we're not really thinking about how am I feeling. We never take the time to step back and say, am I tired? How is my energy level? How is my sleep? And all of those things are ways in which your body is telling you that something is a little bit off. And
Right.
you have to be still long enough to figure that out. But more importantly, you really do have to almost go through a cleanse, because one of the problems that happens is when people are eating processed foods that are made of just chemicals and things that your body has no idea what that is. You know, your insides are no different than your great grandmother that lived many generations ago. Yet most of what you're eating, she wouldn't even recognize. You know, your insides don't recognize it either. It can't take a chemical and turn it into a healthy cell. So when you're eating foods that are just not foods, they're calories, it's very confusing to the body. And so you get a lot of static, you know, you can't, so many people I say, well, are you hungry? Or are you tired? Well, I have no idea. You know,
Yeah.
they feel the same to me. So you almost have to get to a place where you get all of those chemicals out of your system first.
Right.
When you start eating foods that your body recognizes, fresh whole foods, an apple, a salad, a steak, I'm not opposed to eating a little bit of meat, you'll suddenly begin to understand the changes that occur in your body. And it'll be a little more obvious to you when something's off. And then you can pinpoint it a little bit better.
So we have a question that came in. So Matt, we'll definitely answer that one in a little bit. Thank you so much for asking it. We'll definitely get to it. I just wanted to let you know that we're not ignoring you. Just to stick with our program here. So what do you do with the whole indulgences thing? How do you get to turn off the cravings for the unhealthier foods?
You have to address the craving.
Right.
It's that you can't white knuckle your way through something. When you have a craving, it's real. And it's your body telling you there's something really missing in your life. But it's not telling you what you're missing is a cookie. You know, that's just how we interpret it.
Right.
A craving for sweetness can mean any number of things. It can be anything from dehydration to lack of sleep is number one. But oftentimes, what I find with women in particular, it's a lack of self-care. You know, if
Sweetness for life, I like to say. You like to say that too.
what is that?
I said finding a sweetness for life.
Yes, we all need to have sweetness. It's part of why we're here. We're not here to suffer and to always be working. We're here to really enjoy life and to appreciate all the splendor that's around us. And
Right.
what you do is give to your family, give to your boss, give to your workplace, you're giving all the time and you're never replenishing. You get to empty. And when you're on empty, you finally get to where you feel like you're just going to pop. And so you settle for something cheap and easy, which is what the cookie is. You know, you deserve so much more than that. And if you have the willingness to give yourself that, you'll find your sugar cravings will diminish considerably.
That's powerful. I think understanding what your body is needing. And I love how you mentioned tired, because I feel most of us, me included sometimes, where I'm overtired and you're not listening to the overtired, you're just listening to, or what's going to get me through the next hour, instead of taking a pause, taking a break. You know, right before this video today, I actually went outside for 15 minutes because I needed to take a little break. I need to separate there's always a pile of stuff that I need to do. But I wanted to say, all right, I'm going to take 15 minutes. I went outside. I got a nice big cup of coffee because I haven't had any coffee in a few days, and my husband was making it and it smelled really good. And I went outside, I sat and I looked at my lake. My daughter sat on my lap. We chatted for a few minutes. She's like, can we go for a walk? I'm like, oh no, I don't have time for a walk, but we'll do it later. But at least it gave me a little sunshine, a little moment of a break. And that re-energized me. So when I came in, we were ready to roll for this. So I think listening for that is so important. And probably would have been really easy to go downstairs and go grab something sweet. But instead I chose I chose a little bit happier of a moment, and sipping that coffee was good too.
That's perfect. And
Yeah,
it only take maybe 15 minutes. People think they have to blow up their whole life and just change everything, and you don't. You just have to give yourself permission for 15 minutes.
yeah, permission to pause.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, that's really valuable. You mentioned something when we talked last week about giving yourself permission to not be perfect, and sometimes finding the presence in your day, more than like always having to worry about creating organic meals. And I think that listening for that kind of thing too, and understanding that perfection isn't possible. I love that. I love that you said that. So, turning off those cravings. Just curious, like I know that you indulge occasionally. Um, Talk to people about how you do it and when you do it.
Well, to start, I like to tell people that the pursuit of perfection is the highest form of self abuse.
Mm,
You really need to stop doing that to yourself. It's a goal that you're never going to achieve. And so you're always going to be less than, you're always going to be sad, you're always going to be striving for something you can't attain.
right.
So I definitely need to. Everyone reserves the right to make the choice for what's best in the particular moment. And particularly moms have it tough. You have a lot of things on your plate, and raising children is probably the most demanding job you'll ever face. And it's the most important and the most rewarding. And so there are times when maybe you'll decide it's better to take that walk around the lake with your daughter and to order a pizza than it is to be in the kitchen. My mother-in-law used to always joke that people only knew her by the back of her head because all you ever saw was her standing at the stove or at the sink. And
I can relate to that a lot.
turn around sometimes and let them see your face, and
Yeah,
and just and you need to make choices based on that. It's
yeah,
never about one thing. Your kids are going to be fine as long as you are present with them in meaningful ways. So, pick your spots and make choices based on your own instincts, because as a mom, I think most of us get it right more than we get it wrong.
yeah, yeah. And I think from the immunity perspective, don't you agree that when it comes to creating a healthy immune system, having a healthy microbiome, that being in, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but being in a present state is helpful.
Oh, absolutely. I have to take everything into account.
Right.
We're not one-dimensional beings. We have needs, like we said earlier with the sugar. Your needs could simply be that you're not taking the time to indulge yourself in pleasurable things. It's a very real need that we all have. So yes, it is important for your immune system. Stress would be the number one thing that'll put you in the grave
Yeah.
and destroy your immune system. So relax a little bit. Have a little fun.
I hear that a lot. There's a lot of autoimmune diseases are interconnected to emotions and daily stressors more than most things, and there's really no understanding of that. Having that balance within most things in life, and finding, listening to your body and what it's asking for, definitely helps with those effects of having autoimmune diseases. So we do have a question, so I want to get to that because we're running out of time. What are the side effects of a cleanse?
Depends on what kind of cleanse that you do. One of the things I always recommend is you give yourself a little bit of a runway. You don't want to go from eating tons of sugar and junk food to going right into a cleanse, because you'll have a few days of detoxifying that won't be comfortable. It won't hurt you, but it won't feel good, and it isn't necessary to do that.
Right.
talk about a cleanse, I'm referring to getting rid of chemicalized junk food and replacing it with fresh whole food. So you can deeply nourish yourself, but you don't have to starve. It doesn't require that you juice or that you don't eat at all. In fact, people do much better when they do the opposite. You do eat, but you're more careful that you're choosing nutrient-dense foods that will satisfy your body and give you what you need to start to rebuild again.
Right, right. So I think the type of cleanse that Kathy is referring to is a whole food based,
Correct.
where you're just eliminating any food, any of the foods that are not coming from the ground or a tree or some kind of.
Right. It has to either grow, swim, run, or fly. If it doesn't do any of those things, then put it back.
That's awesome. Or grow from the ground. Yeah, I love that. So Matt, I hope that was helpful. I hope that answered your question. Of course, chime in with other ones if you do have them. But Kathy, this was great. If people want to reach out to you, I know that they could, of course, go to your website. And I know that you have a questionnaire. Do you want to just give us a quick synopsis of what that is and what they can expect with that?
Sure. The questionnaire will ask you a few things about what you eat and also about how you feel. And once you fill that out and send it back to me, I will contact you to set up a free consultation to discuss your results, because there are often very simple changes that you can make that can relieve any of the day-to-day symptoms you're experiencing that you would like to start feeling a little bit better. So I am always happy.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you at home for watching. And Kathy, thank you so much for being here again for part 2. Again, if you didn't watch part 1 last week, definitely go back and watch that one. That was lots of really great, valuable information. And Kathy is just a wealth of information. And she is so giving and loving and caring and really wants to help make a difference. So if you need help with it, definitely reach out to her. And again, if you need help from the exercise perspective and you need some coaching for one-on-one personal training or small group training, we are coming out to do some in-person visits. We are still doing online training as well. So if you need help with that, you can reach out to me. Again, I'm Lois and the owner of Fitness Knocking. Thank you so much for watching, and chime in again next week to watch. We're talking about having your cake and eating it too, finding your balance within food. So if you want to check that one out, definitely do that. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.